I just won't go back in there and work.
Yeah.
So instead, I joined the Marine Corps.
But there were some really great Irishmen that would put it on out there.
Where's my football? You guys. We blew it up when we were throwing football on the street.
Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chickenhawk will give you a taste of the past in fried jumbo.
Our next episode of Fried Jumbo is about ready to begin. We got a great guest today, someone that had a ton of patience with us when we were children. Because
us and the whole gang.
Us and the whole gang spent a lot of time over at his house shooting pool, drinking some of his beer when we probably weren't supposed to. But him and his wife, Bev, were wonderful to us. This is Mr. William Scalise.
Gee, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, sorry.
But that Mr.
Right.
Yeah,
Mr. William, huh?
Yeah, but we always called you Mr. Scalise.
Yeah, we did.
And
Respect.
I've told you guys
But my dad
call
would.
me Bill. Now that you're older and you still
My
call
dad
me Mr.
would
Scalise.
never go for that.
Yeah, we
He
still
just
call
was-
you Mr.
He was
Scalise.
like that with everybody. You don't call them by their first name. And I am excited about this too, Chris, because we've known Mr. Scalise forever. He's known us forever, and he's known our fathers, right? And he knows our parents well.
Yeah.
So, our fathers aren't here, and here's the next best thing.
Yeah. I like to call him Wild Bill once in a while.
Yeah, there were days. We won't get there, though.
We won't probably go there, but he's a good man, and he's been good to us through the years. And as part of our mission is to have people of all ages and backgrounds on.
Yep.
We wanted to bring Bill on because, he grew up in North Braddock. We didn't have anyone on from Braddock. He's our parents' age. We haven't had anyone our parents' age on yet. So.
And at the time, North Braddock was the center, one of the centers of the universe, quite frankly, in a lot of ways.
Oh, it was.
Well, Braddock was the big shopping center area, You get down Braddock Avenue on a Friday night and you couldn't even move.
That's what I hear.
People were just jammed up against one another. That was a good town.
Yeah, my mom was from
Really?
from Braddock, North Braddock. Yeah, her family originally.
What was her name?
DeMarzo. What happened was my grandpa grew up in Swissvale, and then when he got married to my grandma, they moved to North Braddock. My mom was born in Braddock Hospital, and then when she was maybe 10 or something, they moved to White Oak, but they started in North Braddock.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That was a good town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit more about, Braddock specifically. But before we do, we start every one of these podcasts with one question that people have to answer for us. Did you ever eat fried jumbo, Bill?
I had a fried jumbo sandwich today.
Did you do it as a way to try to remember or reminisce about eating in the past, or do you still eat fried jumbo regularly?
No, we still have it.
And to get
regular.
in the mood, huh?
Yeah.
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 It's good.
So do you cook it up with butter, or
No.
you just put it right in there?
I put it in there and
Brown it up.
and put mustard and
Everybody puts something different on it.
I put
don't
mustard and onions on there.
yeah.
Oh,
mustard
yeah,
and
that
onions,
is good.
Yeah.
That is
In
good.
fact, you remember down at Lincoln Hills,
Yeah.
they used to have that on their menu.
They did.
Oh yeah,
In the bar there,
Yeah.
or at their place.
yeah.
Fried jumbo.
No wonder I love that damn place so much.
There was a lot of reasons.
It was my favorite place on earth, that Lincoln House. I love that course, and I love the people there.
Oh yeah, that was a great.
It was
It was wonderful.
wild.
So you, as we started, you were you born originally in Braddock and raised there, or did you come from somewhere else and move there?
Well, we lived in North Braddock, and I was born in Wilmerding at my grandmother's house.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Wilmerding.
I was born in my grandmother's house, and my older brother Frank, he was born there, and my brother Ralph was the only one born in a hospital. And it was Braddock Hospital.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's something. My dad was the same thing, born in a house on 8th Street in Irwin.
Now, from Wilmerding, how did you get to Braddock?
Well,
growing up?
my dad, when he was growing up, he lived in North Braddock. Okay, he was born in Italy.
Your dad.
And- yeah,
Okay.
and he was started here. His parents went to Italy. Then he come back here when he was 3.
Okay.
with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah. So they lived in North Braddock.
North Braddock.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah.
And
So-
what time were we? What decade were we talking about? You growing up in the Braddock area? Were you growing up in the
Well,
30s and 40s, or
I was born in the 30s.
okay, late 30s probably?
Yeah,
right?
late
Yeah.
30s. 1938.
38.
To be exact. Yeah.
Right before the war.
Yep. And then I grew up in the 40s and 50s in high school. You know, great times. Never locked your doors. Didn't have to worry about anything. Like today, it's a little different.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
So, do you remember who the president might have been when you were born?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yes, he was, huh?
So,
Yeah.
was Roosevelt the one who he started like CCC and all that, or
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
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 where it was like the New Deal or whatever to try to get a lot of people working
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even it worked at that time.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, people went to those CC camps.
Yeah.
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 I really don't remember that.
No.
Yeah, you're too young.
I was
Yeah,
younger.
because you would have been too young. You would have been like 3
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Right.
But
He's the one that took us into World War II when Pearl Harbor hit, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. That was in 1941. Now, I don't remember. I was only 3 at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the first things I remember the war, we lived 3 doors from a cemetery.
All right.
And they used to bring the servicemen back and would bury them in a cemetery.
Goodness, yeah.
Okay. And I used to remember they'd play the taps
Wow.
on one side of the cemetery, and they had a bugler at the other side and played the taps back. And my mother used to cry all the time, and
Oh, man.
I didn't know why she was crying.
Yeah.
Okay,
You were
then-
too little,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
When the war ended, I was 45. I was
7.
7.
7. Yeah.
Wow. So were they? And these were probably kids. I mean, from the neighborhood, right? These were
Well,
young men
young
from the
men.
neighborhood,
they were
maybe-
young men in Braddock, North
Right.
Braddock, and
which
all,
was
you know.
which is a
So they've
small
been,
world.
Yeah.
They've been 15 years your senior or so.
Yeah, so I didn't know any of them.
No, but still, she did.
But you still
Well,
remember
no, I
that?
don't-
You
huh?
still remember that music and the bugling and all
Oh,
that?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, there was just the other day on, I mentioned that yesterday. Bev and I was watching the program, and just as I said the taps, somebody was on TV playing the taps.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
Sometimes you wonder, huh? Like
Yeah.
you're
Why is
talking
that
about
happening?
something and something happens just like that, and
Yeah.
it rolls right in front of you. It's like God touching you some way.
Yeah, some way.
Well, like I say, growing up in that period, it was a great time to grow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was working.
Yeah, like we never owned a car.
Didn't
No, we didn't have a car. My dad didn't drive. My mother didn't drive. They drove later on.
Yeah.
But my dad bought a car when my older brother was 15, and he was going to be driving, so then he got a car.
He figured he's going to need one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember one time he didn't have a driver's license yet. He was still 15. He talked my dad into letting us drive him. We lived up on a hill,
Yeah.
and he'd drive him down the hill.
Down to Braddock.
No, down to a couple blocks down the hill. You
Yeah.
know, we lived way up on top hill. They called it Baker's Hill. And we lived up there. And he drove them down, and he said, go right back home. So, of course,
Sure he did.
me and my brother's driving the car, we're going for a ride. So we went riding, and don't you know, he hit a car.
Oh my gosh! First time.
Yeah.
I bet your dad
He
was.
hit a parked car.
Did he really?
Was your dad filming, or did you just
A little bit. Yeah.
No, but it's not like hitting a car today that's worth $50,000. They
Oh, no.
Those cars were made of like
They were-
that pig iron back then.
Yeah.
It was like,
Pig
you couldn't
iron.
even put a dent in them.
Well, you did dents. They were heavy.
Yeah.
I think it was a DeSoto.
A DeSoto.
A fluid drive DeSoto.
Fluid drive.
You know who had
I don't
a
even know what that
DeSoto,
means.
don't you? The Cunninghams on Happy Days.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Mr. Cunningham.
They
Mr.
probably had a brand new one all shined up.
Mr. C had a
not
DeSoto.
Not sure Mr. Scalise's family had right out of the
No. But yeah. So, how much different in age was Frank and you and Ralph?
Frank and I were 15 months apart.
Oh wow, really
Wow,
close
that
in age.
close.
Yeah. And me and Ralph was 7 years apart.
Okay. So he's pretty significantly younger than you then. Yeah, because we obviously know Ralph too.
Yeah, we
and
know
Ralph's
Ralphie, too.
kids and
Yeah.
good guy.
Yep.
Yeah, good Latrobe guy. Yeah. When you were a kid and you were growing up, I'm sure there were different athletes and or even actors and things like that. Who was your favorite sports person, if you had one, or entertainer or something like that? Just to tie us back to that
There
time.
was a quarterback by the name of Sammy Ball.
Sammy Ball.
You've heard that name, huh?
Of course.
Played for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
And, of course, he was a great quarterback then. And I remember I delivered Sun Telegraph papers. I had a paper route.
Did you? Yeah.
And if you got new customers, you had to get so many new customers, you got a Sammy Ball autographed football.
This is nuts.
It's awesome.
So I went out and I got all the customers I needed to
Sure.
get.
Selling stuff already, wasn't
And
it,
this
Chris?
day I was sick, and I didn't go to deliver papers, and my brother Frank goes to deliver papers that day. So I didn't know it, but they also delivered the football that day. He comes on, and I find out, and he don't have the football. And I go, where's my football? He goes, we blew it up when we were throwing football on the street. A car ran it over.
Oh, my God.
So I never even seen the football.
Did you get in a fight with him at that time?
I don't remember.
Oh, man. You remember losing that football, though.
Oh, yeah.
Heck
But it's
yeah.
interesting. You're the second guest we've had. We've only had maybe 9 people on so far. And another fellow, Mike Knoll, had a paper route. And he wanted to get he had to get so many customers, and he was going to get this big like penknife thing with all the little gadgets
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And that was like a big thing in his life,
Yeah.
getting that thing. So it's amazing how they trusted like young kids to collect money from folks, and taught you a lot about.
Another thing, another time they had another contest. You got so many new customers. I went to the Notre Dame pit game in South Bend by train. Yeah, by train.
You must have been a hell of a salesman.
I don't know.
Still are.
Still is. It's a heck of a business.
But no, there was a whole bunch of us went down South Bend, and I'll never forget. It was so cold. I think Bob Waterfield may have been the quarterback at the time
For Notre Dame. I don't know that name.
Yeah.
That had to be a big trip for kids from North Braddock. I mean, that had to be a massive trip for you guys.
Oh yeah. We
That's huge.
went on, and our parents didn't go with us.
How old were you think? 12?
Wow.
Where did you stay overnight somewhere, or did they take you out and back in one time? Or
I can't even remember that. It's all I remember going to the game.
Sure.
And it was so cold
yeah,
Can you remember
that when you didn't even bend your walk normal. You sort of like shuffled your feet. And people in the parking lots, they had those big posts, in a wooden post in the ground, and some people shook them, took them out, and they started burning them in the parking lot.
just so they could stay warm.
Yeah.
Right at Notre
Yeah.
Dame.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was. That was the first time I was at Notre Dame.
So the first time you were out of the state?
Probably, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we never went on vacations or anything,
Yeah.
Yeah, we never.
We didn't do.
We
a lot
didn't
of
have
that
a
either.
car, so we didn't travel.
Yeah.
So that probably was the first time I went out of the.
Wow. Without your parents, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a pretty big first time, right?
Yeah, that's pretty-
Indiana, and Notre Dame. I love South Bend. It's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's a nice town. And you've been down to the Notre Dame games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, many of
And
them.
when they march in. And
Oh, yeah. It's quite an experience.
yeah, it really was.
I used to go with the St. Agnes ones, the buses and stuff. Remember they used to take a bus from St. Agnes?
I went I went on a couple of those.
Yeah, we can't say names of what went on out there, but there were some really great Irishmen that would put it on out there. They would get hammered.
There was
Some good people.
yeah.
It's a special trip for a lot of people going to Notre Dame.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really brings tears to your eyes.
Some of the guys before we got the state line in Ohio, they were
Gone.
gone. They were out of it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of creativity on that bus. They used to make it do rookie shows and stuff. It was
Welcome to a church bus trip, right?
it was ridiculous. I mean, the rookie shows and all that. And there was one older fellow. I'll tell a quick story. I won't say who it was, but he wasn't a priest, obviously. But he would dress up as a priest out there.
Oh my!
And we'd be at a tavern or something. And he was older. He was I was probably in my 20s. He might have been in his 80s, let's just say. And he would dress up as a priest. And a pretty girl would walk by in the bar or something. And he'd pinch her bum. Like real hard, just a little pinch. And she'd turn around and see him standing there all stately and
Like a
priest. And she would just then look at some young kid and go, "You pig." Because she thought it was a young kid.
was he even Catholic?
No, I don't know. I mean, he was just a funny dude. He was just he was a prankster.
Wow.
Just, having fun out there. He'd be all loaded. But he wouldn't, I mean, it wasn't like bad. He was just a little pinch, little goose. It's funny. But those trips were filled with characters. So let's take it back and think about the first maybe movie you can remember. Do you remember? Did you like the Lamp Theater when I was a kid? Was a big
that was
thing.
it.
Did you have a theater in Braddock that you all went to? And
We had three.
three, okay,
Oh, yeah. Braddock was
Capitol,
roaring.
the Capitol, the Times, and the Paramount.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a pretty big town.
yeah, it
Braddock
was.
at that time.
Yeah,
The mills were booming back then.
And what was it?
you know.
Edgar Thompson right there, huh?
Yeah, the ET was right there.
Right.
My dad worked at the Cary Furnace in Rankin.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so he worked there
He walked off that hill every day and walked up that hill
every day. He walked.
wow.
And these are
And I remember
These hills are steep.
yeah. If you haven't been to Pittsburgh, these are not little bumps.
It was 1950, I believe. We had the big snowstorm. And there was probably 3 feet of snow. And I remember we were up in, me and my brothers were up in my mother and dad's bedroom and opened the window and looking out, and I see my dad walking down the hill. He went to work. He walked 3 foot of snow.
Wow.
He walked from up there
Wow.
down through Braddock, down over to Rankin.
Wow. How long is that?
I don't know.
That's a couple miles,
Probably
3 miles.
3-4 miles.
3 or 4 miles,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, and it's all
He got to the mill, they were closed.
they walked
He walked back.
Oh, jeez. Well, at least he had his
I mean,
lunch
back
with
then,
him.
people didn't miss work.
Right.
No.
You had a job, you went to work.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have much money. It's not like you had a giant savings. You had to go make your money.
No, we had I remember he used to get paid twice a month. The first of the month, he'd get what he said was their small pay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the end of the month, they got a bigger pay. Well, when we got the bigger pay, we used to go to Braddock shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay?
Walking down.
Walk down,
Yeah.
got a cab coming home. That's the only time I rode in cars. My uncles had cars, of course. So we'd get a big order, and we'd get in the car, and we'd drive home.
So it was like a special trip getting in that cab, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you never
Yeah.
were in vehicles and things.
Yeah.
Wow.
We walked everywhere. And then the meals, some of the things that I think about now, the meals would, let's say like a furnace would let go, which I'm really not sure what, but all that dust and stuff that just come out
Poof
of
in the
those.
air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on our porches, it was just red dirt,
Right.
grind.
Like grind.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Cars, sidewalks, porches,
Right.
And we'd have to clean the porch off and sweep the sidewalks and that stuff.
Wow.
Because that stuff from the mills just in Braddock and in Rankin,
Yeah.
and they'd go up, and that dirt would just
Everywhere.
everywhere.
The whole town worked in the mills, right? I mean, there
Just
wasn't.
about, There and Westinghouse, a lot of perk.
Right over to the
Because
left.
Westinghouse in East Pittsburgh,
East Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They had a 15,000.
they had probably 40,000 people there.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
That's why,
big.
and when they go on strike, the whole plant was shut down.
Oh.
So afterwards, you didn't see big plants like that.
Oh. I see.
I
Okay.
see what you mean.
They
Yeah.
had smaller plants, different.
Different
places.
across the country.
That way, the whole company didn't go down at once.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think about that valley. If you think Homestead, how that was the biggest mill,
Yeah.
I think, in the world. And then you come out, you got Rankin, and like you said, you got Braddock. Then you went to Duquesne, McKeesport. It just was one
Up and down the river.
up and
Yeah.
down that
Yeah,
entire.
the coal came from a little east of there, and when it got to
Yeah.
there, they made steel out
On
of
barges.
Yeah, come
The
down
coal
on the river.
Come in on barges.
it. Right from up here, really,
Yeah.
10, 20 miles away.
But that's a hell of a stretch, a river that had so many
Oh,
people working through
gosh.
there.
Built America at the time.
It's amazing, huh?
Oh, I went to Panama,
Oh, okay.
and the gates.
Yeah.
In the,
yeah,
all
the
right,
canal.
in the canal, made in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were made in
I
Pittsburgh.
heard something like when they built the what is that big building, Empire State Building? They would make the steel here because they needed the big steel, and they would have to wait because it would go across a train from our mills to New York and have to wait for a while before they could touch it because it was still warm.
Oh, it had to like cool off enough
still had to cool down.
to make hard enough so that they
Yeah.
could put it up.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
I went in
Yeah.
a mill when I was a senior in high school. They take you on a trip, field trip, and they took us in the mill. and
Here's your future.
And I come home. I said to my dad, first and last day they'll ever see me in there. Well, he got angry.
Did he?
He said it fed you all these years. And, he thought I was downgrading him, And I said, no, it's not that, Dad. I said, I just won't go back in there and work.
Yeah.
So instead, I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah, that
wasn't too smart either.
that wasn't your other. That was your other choice. It was your other choice.
But did you? We're gonna. You typically ask folks what you wanted to be when you grew up. You knew what you didn't want to be, I guess, right? You didn't want to
I didn't want to work in a mill,
mill.
That's good.
but I had no clue.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Did you have any idea of real estate or a vision for your future?
Nothing.
Than the Marine Corps was your next step, perhaps.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother was in. So then,
Was he in the Marine Corps as well?
Yeah.
That's the Corps? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so when all my buddies, most of them, a lot of them went to the Marine Corps.
All right. Why the Marines? Was it
I don't know.
Toughest and
Some of
roughest?
the guys these were guys from North Braddock.
right?
Most of the fellas because I graduated from North Huntington.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys move during your senior year?
We moved in the middle of my sophomore year.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
From North Braddock. Out here, I thought they took me to the end of the world.
Right.
Well, we lived by, the tuxedo place.
Highway Tux.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
We were the first family to move in there. We were 3 houses behind where Tuxedo.
Off of
Yeah.
Route 30 there.
Yeah.
So that's just Westmoreland County there,
Yeah.
right across the Allegheny County
Yeah.
line.
So that was in 1953, I think,
Okay.
when I moved there.
So your dad obviously had a car then. He had to get a car to get to work.
Yeah, we had a car then, but he hated to drive. He didn't drive a lot. My mother got her license, and she drove, and then I drove, and my brother drove. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was it was a big difference from a town
Of the city.
to moving out here, and we walked everywhere in town.
Yeah.
And out here, you couldn't walk anywhere.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah,
It was all probably rural,
Yeah.
more rural than it is now, right? I mean,
yeah.
Wow.
And when I played ball in high school, they didn't have buses that take you home. You know,
from sports, you had
Yeah.
to hoof it.
bum.
That's a long.
I used to
Because
come home.
Norwin High School was where East is, or
Yes,
yeah, right,
That's where I went to high
That
school.
was a long way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like on
And
the
then Irwin
outside.
High School was where 6th Street School was.
Yes.
yeah.
And you'd hitchhike, and back then people would pick you up, and it wasn't no.
There was no big deal.
Yeah.
You know, now you would never let your kid.
Right.
Now, when you were in North Braddock, what school was that? Was that Scott
Scott High School.
Scott High School? I thought
Yeah.
so. There's a lot of people that I've run across in my life went to Scott High School.
Yeah.
Like I think Bill Priatko might have went there.
Bill Priatko went there and went to Pitt, of course.
Yeah.
And he played for Scott. Then he played for Pitt. Then he played for the Steelers. I think he played for the Browns, too.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think he's the oldest living Steeler.
He is, for sure.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And Bill got to be,
92.
is he 92?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I went to his 90th birthday party up on top of at that Braddock Golf Course up there. What is
okay.
that up on top of there?
Grandview.
That's
Yeah.
a beautiful view up there.
Oh, yeah. That used to be, when I was a kid, that used to be a radio tower.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, and they used to have picnics. Churches from Braddock had picnics there every Sunday.
Wow.
You
Is that
know.
like KDKA or something, I can imagine.
What
to be.
was it? No, that wasn't WLOA. I forget, really.
Think of the history, because I'm a Revolutionary War nut, but think of the history of that hill right there. That's where George Washington and General Braddock came to Fort Duquesne and got shot at. Right there. That's why it's called Braddock. And
Well, I know.
and George Washington didn't get hit for some reason. That's where he got the hole in the hat or in his coat or something.
Oh, is that
Remember
right?
the story you learned?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Think of that, to the steel mills and all those people, and just the history of that valley is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that whole valley, those old timers, they all worked. They were hard workers, hard drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they used to come out of the mill in the morning, and they used to get Boilermakers.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd get a shot and put it in a fish bowl, beer, and then drop it in there and drink
Chunk it down.
Yeah.
And not one.
Not one, no.
One was just to get the motor started, I guess.
You know, you're talking about movies.
Yeah.
Probably one of the first movies I remember was 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. Okay. A football movie, Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis.
Think about it.
They played for Army.
And they were in that.
Huh?
They were at the
In the movie.
They
in the
were-
movie.
They were the players.
The players.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Glenn
was,
Davis, yeah.
think about it. That was your world, right? The war and football. And sports.
That's
and sports.
basically it. You know, the other movie was the Fighting Sullivan Brothers. There was 5 brothers that when they were kids, they were in like 2 years apart, you know, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And when the war started, 4 of them joined the Navy. And the 5th one said he's going too. And his parents had to give him the approval to go. They were in the Pacific. And they were all on the same ship. And the ship got bombed and killed them all.
Oh, my Lord.
That's why brothers aren't allowed together anymore in
Right.
combat zones.
So mom has at least one kid coming.
Yeah. But they lost them all 5 of them.
Oh, jeez.
The one brother was wounded. He was below deck, and a bomb come over. And they were going down to get him out because they had to abandon the ship. It was already, I think, on fire, if I recall the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it is true, you know.
Right.
And they dropped the bomb down a stack, and so they lost All the kids. Wow. So those were the movies I remember. Football movies,
Yeah.
military movies, you know, and the same thing with the who I remember playing ball.
Next time on Fried Jumbo.
Well, let's go to my house for a drink. So we got back to my house. Of course, my sons didn't expect me
Yeah.
home.
So it's cars everywhere, I bet.
There was kids everywhere.